Hey, hey, hey! It's Lady Justice, Liberty Press in the van life with Lady Justice. Hashtag LJLP. Thank you for joining us, each and every one of you. I'll give you all a few moments to wander in to get those notifications. I am out here in Florida off of the 1A or the 1A1.
1A1.
Yeah, the 1A1. There you go. Anyway. Oh, hey, and purple too.
I'm not going to make you work for them.
You're not going to make me work for them.
Hands like an octopus. I mean, you might be able to do some work.
I got something for you as well, sir. The Constitution.
Bless you.
And I do have, oh, is this, there you go. I do have it signed with my YouTube channels in the front.
Awesome.
So if you want to look me up later, feel free.
Yeah.
Leave me a comment, and not, so I know who
you
you
use clocks, but if someone says, look me up later, I got to say, what time?
What time? Anytime you want. YouTube is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week platform.
I'm home, and if they catch me, I'm going to find a new home. And it might look a little different if I don't use this book.
There you go.
That's true.
You put away the guest book?
Oh, it's good.
Oh, great. Love it.
Hey, hey, hey. It's Lady J. Well, as you guys see here, I am out here in Florida, and I am doing van life with Lady Justice right now. And I'm actually at a little treasure place museum. Anyway, I met this fine gentleman. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Hi, I'm Larry Sandell. I'm from Canada on this trip. I originally began my journey on Earth. Haven't been able to leave yet, but I'm looking for a way out. And if you guys can stop this spinning of this planet the way it's going these days, I appreciate it, because I feel like I want to get off.
Right? You let me off this ride, right?
I did go to the Artemis launch and watch the rocket go to the moon this past week, and that was quite a thrill when the blast and the vibration and the sound hits you in the chest. It's really exhilarating to see him head right out to the moon.
Wow, yeah.
What an event. That was amazing. Anyway, I'd like you to sign my guest book and explain to you something about what I think about life.
Oh, okay.
So life is like a game of poker. Happiness is the pot. Fate deals you 4 cards and a joker, and you play whether you like it or not.
That's so true when you think about it.
And this is counterfeit.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not real. So I guess I can destroy you. And anyone out there on YouTube land, I'm looking for a gal with an airplane.
Looking for a gal with an airplane.
And if you have an airplane, I only need 1. I don't need 600. So yeah, if you're that person with 600 airplanes.
You don't need her, huh?
Oh gosh, that's just too much time in the air for me.
I think you should start wearing a pilot's uniform. That would really pull her in.
Oh gosh.
There you go.
Anyway, life is a journey, and it's great to share Earth with people. I guess they're Earthlings.
Earthlings? Yes.
One thing I always wondered is about meteorites. You know, when they come down, are the aliens throwing rocks at us?
Ooh, that's a good way to look at it. It could be.
And I wonder, who are they throwing the rock at?
Not me, I hope.
Well, if you find one.
Well, we probably look like a pun. They're probably just skipping them across the top, you know. We probably just...
Yeah, right? There you go.
We're getting on the right frequency. I think I'm going to go smoke another bowl.
There you go. You enjoy,
Thanks
sir.
for sharing, Larry.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing, man. Oh, can we sign the book? I know she'd love to sign it. wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to let my cameraman be the cameraman.
Oh, good to meet you. Oh. Here's speaking what magazine was that? Fishing Angler, South Coast Fishing.
Oh, wow, amazing.
New Year's Day, a couple of years ago, I went out with the shirt on.
Is this stolen?
And I caught a 30-pound cobia.
Oh, wow.
And they put me in the magazine with my little shirt.
That's fabulous. Actually, that's fantabulous.
Well,
Yeah,
I didn't
it's better than fabulous.
I didn't get the cover.
But at least she was in the magazine, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
I think you deserve the cover.
do you want John Wayne's?
Yes, his autograph.
Oh,
That was
here's
hilarious.
This is my uncle. You're a legend in the family, and it was great to meet you. Home of the 5,000 cows and 2 helicopters. I think he embellished the story. Somebody did.
Somebody
But there's a man who rode the old Oregon Trail with his wife and a wagon train, and they did it the old way. No help from the outside except for food and water for the horses.
Amazing. Oh my God.
Good. Now here, the Travato wannabes, owners. Fine, and after all, you're a treasure hunter. Safe travels. Have a blast. I hope to see you in the tube someday. Wendy, Tracy, and Lena. Travato wannabes. 58 women, that's the story. May it be embellished, threw their husbands and homes away to go full-time in an RV.
That is smart. Those are smart women right there.
I'm a full-timer in my RV as well.
Can I give you a hug?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, hey, don't get handsy now. Don't get handsy.
It goes further. I mean, if you sign my guest book and drop me a number somewhere. You can use code if you like.
Oh, I'm very fluent.
Code.
I'm very fluent in code.
And if you could draw me a doodle.
I draw you a doodle.
Yeah. A doodle.
A doodle. Let's see.
I just love doodles. Maybe it's you, I don't know, picking up something. Bend over, you know. If I go too far, just give me a slap. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just having a good time. It's all in good fun.
This is a good time. Everybody, you have enjoyed almost 8 minutes of the content on other platforms. Somebody please drop the link. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, you need to go over to Lady Justice Liberty Press LJLP on YouTube. Right, Van Life with Lady Justice is what it's called, LJLP. Somebody please put that in the chat. And we're going to sign off of the other platforms. So everybody who wants to continue watching, you need to go over to YouTube. It will be Van Life with Lady Justice, LJLP. Signing off the Facebooks now.
Oh. I'm interested if you might have by chance a book of alibis.
A book of alibis?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
For the sheriff.
A book of alibis. Do tell.
Oh, you can't hear that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
That's a good one. We should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't hear. Why not?
I love it. I like the way you think.
Isn't it safe?
If you are watching on Amazing Audits on YouTube, this stream is going to be discontinued on that channel. And if you want to catch the rest of this treasure hunt that we are on today, you must go over to Van Life with Lady Justice, LJLP on YouTube. Please search that now and have a good day. I'll see you in the chat.
In my main channel, I've got almost 7,000. In my smaller channel, I've got 930. On my main channel. I'm trying to get my Van Life channel to monetize.
It's an interesting life. I mean, it's something I did when I was a kid. You know, I was a young surfer. as soon as I got a car, the first thing it went was the back seat. You know, threw that out, and then put a little mattress in it and a sliding surfboard in there, and camp out. And so that was my way of living. And when I was a kid, I wanted to get around. What else you gonna do?
I freaking love it. Van life is the best life, isn't it, guys?
It really is. It really is.
10 out of 10.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
I'm honored as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we're going to scoot off now.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going. Am I going to go north to Melbourne? Planet Fitness is a great place.
I love Planet Fitness. Let's plug them, everybody.
Absolutely,
Plug them right
absolutely.
now.
Yes.
Come on, Planet Fitness, we love you. The
Planet
cops
Fitness.
tried to throw us out of the parking lot 2 days ago, and the guy inside was like, oh, they've never done anything to me, so no. And then we didn't have to leave.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I love Planet Fitness for being inclusive and tolerant.
That's
Excuse
right.
me, officer, you're the authorized agent for this property, registered authorized agent, or is this just your idea?
Thank you. Yes, I really
You
hate
can't
it when they
park
go
here
and,
because I don't want you.
I don't like it.
yeah, when they go to solicit a trespass of sorts.
I will give you kudos to Martin County Sheriff's Department and Police Department. When the weather went down to freezing, it's going below a time where the iguanas fall out of the trees at 32 degrees and freezing. They're stunned. The knock on the door came at 11:30 at night. I was invited to a homeless shelter where I could get a cot, I could get out of the cold, I could have a bottle of water and a sandwich and a night's sleep in a safe area. But during COVID, I said, I think I'm better off here. And thank you. I took the address.
You got
And I
that
think
right.
it was very kind of Martin County Police and Sheriff's Department to, when times get rough for the homeless people.
Yes.
You remember the officer's
Hol-
name? We like to give commendations to when good deeds are done by public servants. I certainly like to give compliments to those sort of things.
I like to say I am not homeless. I am houseless by choice. I actually live in my body. And with that, I will part you, sir. Thank you. Hey, guys. Thanks for each and every one of you for showing up and climbing aboard with LadyJ.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, is that my,
Your bone's going up.
yeah.
You're live.
Okay. I absolutely appreciate so much what Mr. Amazing does to assist me along this journey and this adventure. We are here in Florida, and I wanted to bring you guys to the MCLARTY Treasure Museum. This is a treasure museum. Ugh, I cannot speak. Great Seal of the State of Florida. In God we trust. Site of survivors and
Let's see
camp.
that, huh?
Yes.
Late in July 1715, a hurricane destroyed a fleet of 11 or possibly 12 homeward bound merchant ships carrying cargoes of gold and silver coinage and other valuable items from the American colonies to Spain. About 1,500 men, women, and children who survived the disaster and reached the shore made their camp along the barrier island near the place where the fleet's flagship had sunk. Governor General Coles sent a relief party composed chiefly of Indian auxiliaries from St. Augustine to provide subsistence for the survivors. These auxiliaries also gave protection and aid to the salvagers who used the campsites while working to recover the valuable cargo from the sunken vessels. Archaeological work at the site revealed that the salvagers seemed to have erected some temporary structures for use as storehouses for the recovered gold and silver. While the salvage operation was in process, Henry Jennings, an English pirate, sailed to the site, drove off the guards, and seized a large quantity of the recovered coins, which he carried away to Port Royal, Jamaica. But the great majority of the treasure was safely regained and moved to Havana by the Spanish salvagers.
Hey, hey, hey. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Amazing, for reading our placard here. And that was established, it looks like, in 1974. They put that plaque up. So that's just been a couple of years, I guess, right? 1974. Lifetime ago, and then some, right? Anyway, here we are in this treasure museum, and we're going to see what we can find here. I'm not sure what all.
For the donation. And like I said, I'll be in there at about 35 after to show you some artifacts. So, what's up?
Hi, how are you doing?
Not bad. I'm assuming you're YouTube.
That's absolutely correct. This is a fan life channel.
Oh, okay. I'm doing more decked out than I am. I'm a YouTuber myself.
Oh,
That's
are you?
wonderful. You want to? Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
We'll put the card on there.
We'll give you a shout out here if you don't mind.
We share and we like to build channels up.
My son and I are both anthropologists, and we're going to end up driving all the way around the world in an electric car.
Oh, well, that's a great ambition, and yes, that would be fabulous.
In the meantime, this is my hometown museum, and we're trying to keep making it better and making it better. And I usually have a volunteer here, but I don't today. So I will have to pop in there and teach you some useless stuff as we're going on.
Oh, okay.
It'll be fun.
Can you tell me a little bit about your museum?
Yeah, let me do that in there though, so there's a better backsplash, and let me go, because I'm by myself, I want to get them there for doing their thing.
Yes,
We'll find a better backsplash for that.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
I kind of understand where you want to be.
Exactly. Thank you. Come along on this wild and crazy adventure with LadyJ. The gentleman that was here that we just spoke to, he's also a YouTuber. So he's going to come in and explain some things to us and clue us in. Also, if you all have any thoughts, ideas, opinions about places to go, things to see that would interest you, the viewer, please drop a comment in the comment section, and those will be considered. Spanish treasure and cargo. It looks like we've got a Spanish ship here. This is just a little replica. Yeah, if you guys could drop me comments and give me some ideas, some suggestions, leave your thoughts, your opinions. Do try to keep them positive, as you know, I'm a pretty positive person myself, people. Yeah, he's working in here today by himself. So he will be in here shortly to start running things and explaining what's going on. Some old silver looking spoons and forks, buckles. Two-handed bowl. Yeah, two-handed bowl. Silver cup.
So you can't do it as much as you want.
Some clasps from a rosary chain. A little pitcher, very small. I would say it's about 3 inches in height. Very small pitcher. It almost appears like it was encased in water at some point because of the mineral buildup around it.
I got a really cool, I'll show you a really cool platform.
There's a glass bottle neck with a remnant of a metal cap. Glass bottle fragments. These were salvaged from a wreck, 1,715 feet below the surface. That's what this little placard says anyway. Porcelain. Here is a model of another ship. And this is in memory. It was donated in memory of George L. Polka Sr. Polka Sr. Yes. The 1715 disaster. That's what's on this wall. Again, the curator is supposed to be coming in here and giving us like a little tour. He is working by himself today, so he is a little bit busy. So it might take him a minute. So please hang on in here, guys. Hey, Tiff. Fancy seeing you aboard. Hey, hey, hey. Shirley Z.
Hello, Shirley Z. So much. Thank you for being here.
That was Mr. Amazing out there thanking Shirley Z.
Appreciating and love. Your Dr. Shirley Z.
Thank you, thank you.
Just love all of you. Thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely.
So much love.
Each and every one of you are very, very important and so appreciated and loved. Thank you.
I became increasingly concerned. Sporadic rainfalls that hurt our residents. Then came the steady storms. It weakened our spirit in spite of incessant prayer. The sense of feeling developed.
Hey, 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 Fab Daddy 444. Fur 174 or 147, excuse me, Fur 147. Thank you for being aboard today. Hey, hey, hey. We've got Bob on board. This is what the small villages looked like back then. This is a replica, a very small replica of a small village. St. Augustine, Florida. Some other things that they found: Native American pottery shards. All very interesting and fascinating. I don't want to move too fast for you all. I don't want to make anybody sick walking around. Life aboard a ship. You guys are welcome to pause it, and during playback, after the live is over, you can certainly pause and read things that I have.
I am not.
This is the curator.
Travel, whether it's here or whether it's across the pond, people you interact with, and a better person you become, and you learn stuff.
That does kind of make sense. YouTube, and I've been working with this out there and stuff. And a lot more people. My life has progressed for the better, so I can offer it. And this is lovely Lady Justice. This lady has the most amazing amount of courage, and she wants to justice.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Stand up for what you believe in, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Where are you guys from originally?
I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I reside in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm originally from my mother.
Okay, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Most of us.
And then I was dropped off somewhere in the state of Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Idaho's beautiful 4 months out of the year.
Right?
I really like that part of the country 4 months out of the year.
Lots of nice
So being
wildlife.
From Florida, I'm sure it's gorgeous for everybody else when it's winter, but if you're from Florida, you can't handle Idaho.
No, yeah, it's
That's what
too
I'm wired
cold.
for.
Yeah.
So, I like to surf a little bit. You don't surf very much in Idaho.
Is that okay? Just thought I would let everybody live see what the conversation is.
Since September of 2020, pretty much I've traveled to England. This is my fifth time around.
All 50 states?
No, just the 38.
Okay, all right. Got to get you to the other two.
That's right.
There you go.
If I can figure out how to get there on the road.
So you can get the last one.
Yes, yes.
Hawaii.
I don't think so.
Play both. If you're afraid of flying, you float out there. Okay.
I don't know. I like I like to keep myself on the land.
Well, that way this is clear to drive all the way to the southern tip of the Americas.
That would be interesting.
Awesome. We're going to do it. Yeah. That's the second major continental ocean.
So how far down are you coming?
Oh,
Well, congratulations. I like that.
Yeah, like I said, though, so let me tell you a little bit about here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a few things in here, maybe. I'll give you like maybe a general what is going on here, over here.
Okay.
And I'll tell you about a couple of my favorite things, and that'll fill you out. I just have to keep my eye on whether anybody's coming in, so I can do my other job. Okay? So McClarty Treasure Museum is right on the site of the Spanish salvagers and survivors camp from 1715. 1715 is a really important year for world history because this wreck was the first opportunity for the Spanish to get treasure in like 15 years. And so they were desperate for it. So they told them, bring everything you can and come whenever you can. And what that translated into was going really, really slow up the coast of Florida and a hurricane wiping them out. So all 11 ships crashed up against our coast. All right, we think the main one or one of the main couple was right out here. And so there's still people who find treasure all the time, especially after hurricanes like recently. There's salvagers who are out every year, and they just continue to add to what we know about it, and continue to add to some of the things that are here in the museum, whether it's by donating it or the portion that the state gets will stay here, or at least stay with the state, and then we hope to get it put in here. So it's a great little museum. It's got some of my favorite things. I grew up surfing here, so it's my honor to work here, and I love that. Kind of show you the trade routes over here, I think.
Okay.
And then I'll talk to you about the bell and the cannon. But if he needs to buy something, I'm going to break away for a second to sell something to him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'll go back to this, and then I might have to show everybody's artifact.
Great, thank you so much. He will be right back, so please stay tuned, y'all. Thank you all for being here. Our curator will be back momentarily.
These things, huh? That's pretty neat. That's extremely neat, actually.
Oh, yeah, that looks very Chinese, actually. Spanish?
Spanish, I think. I could be
No,
wrong.
it looks like Chinese.
It does look Chinese, you're right, but I thought all this was Spanish stuff.
Well, that looks very, I don't know.
Oh, you're right. Look, we got
Oh,
Indonesian even. Right?
yeah.
What a good find here for the van life. We highly recommend that if you are on the 1A1 in Florida and you're skipping by, or maybe you were going surfing or whatever, enjoying the sights, stop in at the MCLARTY Treasure Museum.
Hey, 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 we got Lucky Laptop in the house.
How's the sound? How's this video?
5x5, guys.
5x5. Very clear picture.
DJ Nat, Nate, DJ N8. Oh, I'm cleaning my lens there. Thank you, Mr. Amazing. Hey, hey.
This is more valuable. This is a piece of pound C porcelain that I found. There's a lot of pieces of cups that I found that are smaller. This is either a piece of a bowl or of a large plate, and so it's more rare. It's nice. It's very, very dense porcelain, which makes it more valuable porcelain. It's something that you want to look for in the shell beds too, all right? Because the blue will show up really easy. You're looking at it in blue sea glass is rare too. So if you look for blue, you're in pretty good shape. All right. It's a piece of pewter. It could be the center of a pewter plate. I found this doing a beach cleanup. It was nice. It also could be lining of a box. I choose to say it's lining of a treasure box because it's mine, and I like to say whatever I want. No. It's one of my pieces. It's some piece of pewter, but it's a cool little piece, and I like to show people that. Next piece. This one's kind of fun. So that I can teach people more about it, I'm doing it every spot on that map. So that needs to be a full-time. And so when I was in Panama, I'm related to Sir Francis Drake. His brother John is my great-great-great-great-grandfather, so he's my great-uncle. I was waving at his burial at sea, saying, "Hey, Uncle Frank, life's good." Just tapped me in the toes. It is the bottom of a rum bottle from Jamaica. Not from his era, unfortunately. He would have drank out of a onion bottle. This is more of a 1740s to 1760s rum bottle. But it's the bottom of a rum bottle, and then I say my great uncle gave it to me, so it's kind of fun. You can't find this type of glass out there, not from this exact bottle, but it's really thick, kind of diagnostic old glass. So sometimes you find 300-year-old sea glass when you're out there, which is cool. I don't like that one. I have some buddies who have like a full bottle. They get permission to go detecting on people's hands. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So I've never tried to do that. I'm a traditional archaeologist, so I have to keep myself in traditional archaeological type of
share, and subscribe.
All right. This was shipped into some treasure. This is real treasure. This is the only piece that I ever found. And kept. I actually found one of these when I was 15 and thought this was a weird neighborhood. Wrote it down. It's worth like 20 grand. It's worth considerably less. But to me, it's valuable. I found it one day when I was out from surfing. It is 410 to 415-year-old piece of eight off of the Green Cabin wreck, which is a ski resort. It's a Green Cabin. They're notoriously beat up because they've rolled around for so long and there's not a lot of reef there. So they get the sea glass treatment essentially. So you'll see, you can barely even see a cross or anything on it. But it's still a cool piece of silver that I actually found. This is fake. If it was real, it'd be worth about $300,000 possibly. It is called a gold finger bar. That is the way if you paid your taxes and your tithe, you would come over with a finger bar that had Dos Equis, meaning you paid your 20% tax, and the crown, meaning you paid your 10%. If you didn't want to pay taxes, you just made it into jewelry or you tried to smuggle it. It wasn't worth losing your head, so a lot of it was jewelry. But that's a way that gold came over. Some gold came over as coins, like you would have seen in the display over here. Most of that was the only portion of gold that was probably being kept by royalty, except for gifts. This is the largest, this is a 3D model of the largest gold thing that has been found on any of our wrecks. All right, there's three hypotheses on this. It could be a communion tray. It could be a glove tray, which is what Alex, who found it, thinks it is. I actually believe that, and I can't make a giant case for this, but this is my belief, just seeing it, seeing that it's not flat like a gold, that it doesn't, it's too rocky for this. There was a large diamond, 6.18 carat perfect teal diamond that made it to Spain with the emissary from Manila. They call it the Fernandez Blue Diamond. And I believe this is on the same ship as this. Like I said, I can't prove it. That's my hypothesis. Most important thing for me is this is in Tallahassee in a display where it doesn't get seen a whole lot. I'm hoping that if we can actually raise all the money that I would like to see us raise, that we can bring this in as our centerpiece because it was just found right down the street. Wow. All right, so we'll see.
I can see finding this at a beach and, oh, that's something.
Yeah.
Looking at that thing.
Yeah.
That's a file.
Right. Or if you look at it, so our cobs, right, these are all clean. So you have to look at the velvet display over here to see some of the ones that are still encrusted.
Yeah.
Very hard to recognize them when they're encrusted, especially if they just came up and they haven't rolled around a lot because that incrustation can be really thick. And it just looks like any other piece of metal with sand stuff to it. So, yes, absolutely.
What was that piece again you spoke of?
That is called a silver ingot. It's a specific kind of silver ingot, though. They would take like 6 of these, think Trivial Pursuit. They would essentially make a Trivial Pursuit pie on the bottom of a barrel, put a fake barrel top on the bottom on it, and then fill it up with oil or something, and hope they didn't get caught. So this is the instant. All right. Yeah, this is encrusted. That's not encrusted. This one's got a coin stuck to it, which is really rare and cool. It is why it's state. Yeah. Lots of cool things to be found. It's a really cool place. I'm glad you guys dropped in. And any other questions, just let me know. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth a little bit for those of you who came in. We'll do the $2 later. Don't worry about it. Your movie will start in just a couple minutes.
All right. A lot of this that they would pop right here on the beach.
So there's at least 8 ships that have been identified, or have been identified as our ships, not identified as the ship. And they're from Melbourne Beach to just south of Pearson. There's hypotheses on a couple that are further out because there were 11 ships and they still have some to identify. But I can't put any credence into either. Right?
Have you found anything from working here, like walking around?
Yeah, almost everything that I showed you, I found except for like the big stuff, walking around. But you don't find this type of thing very much anymore. I don't want to get your hopes way too high. We've got so much extra sand that's been put on it that you have to have a metal detector and a decent one to really get into treasure for the most part. Now, right after the hurricane, they were almost down on the Filipino. There's so much erosion from this that a lot of people have bringing stuff here. Most of them metal detectors still. Yeah. But I've seen a handful of coins come in the last week. Wow. So, it's not a horrible time to be out hunting right now. I don't have the patience or the time for that. Too many other irons in the fire. So.
Thank you very much.
Good fun. You're very welcome. Tell your friends we're cool when they come in to see.
Very, very fascinating and full of history, guys. I absolutely adore history. There's so much to history. It's our roots. And how do we know where we're going if we don't know where we're from? On this journey of life, His Majesty wishes and orders that
That means with everybody coming out, that means the movie is starting again. If you haven't watched the movie yet, go ahead and either one of those.
we will be watching a movie.
For those of you who did just watch the movie, you want to learn something.
I'm going to step in.
This is that map that we're talking about that helps them identify which one was which. Most amazing about this isn't even really that story.
Today, this treacherous 200-mile stretch of Florida shore is romantically called the Treasure Coast. While it's true that many of the sunken ships carried treasure, the name of the coast refers to one ill-fated fleet of Spanish galleons, the doomed treasure fleet of 1715. 11 glorious galleons, loaded with silver, gold, and jewels, were destroyed by a savage hurricane, leaving a trail of sunken treasure worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The effect of this disastrous event altered world history. Not only did it hasten the end of the once glorious Spanish Empire, but it also ushered in a new chapter in history, the perilous age of piracy. Today, the legacy of the 1715 treasure fleet lives on, almost 3 centuries after it sank in U.S. waters. Salvage operations are ongoing because a bulk of the treasure is still laying in wait at the bottom of the sea.
Old Spanish ship home influence there's a little bit about the cities and all this. I don't think there's anything alive that would be fascinated with this Spanish shipwreck. Or the idea that there's something treasure there.
The story of the 1715 fleet began with its departure from Seville, Spain, in 1713. For 2 years, the galleons sailed the seas, collecting treasure from around the globe. Most of the gold and jewels were gathered from Mexico, Colombia, and Peru in the New World. Delicate pan-sea Chinese porcelain and other precious imports came from halfway around the world, from the Orient to Manila, and across the Pacific Ocean to Acapulco, Mexico. But the bulk of the treasure was silver from Peru, which gave the fleet its name. The Spanish word for silver is plata, and thus this treasure fleet became known to history as the 1715 Plate Fleet. Many adventurous men have searched for these lost galleons. Most notable is acclaimed treasure hunter Mel Fisher. He first found fame and fortune when he helped locate the site of the ancient shipwrecks. Today, Fisher owns the exclusive contract with the state of Florida to search for the remaining riches along the treasure coast. Mel Fisher's son, Kane, carries the torch as he goes treasure hunting in the same waters where his father discovered these 3 decades ago. Hidden under a thin layer of silt, a well-preserved historical artifact is found.
Wow!
As a tool once used by Spanish sailors to navigate the seas, an asteroid is rare, extremely valuable itself, worth several $100,000. But the real value was found somewhere nearby, a lost treasure, 1715 fleet. Still missing are hundreds of tons of silver, millions of dollars in gold, countless treasures from the Middle East and Orient. But most intriguing of all, a breathtaking assortment of priceless jewels is the royal gallery in Spain. This is what the treasure hunters want most. The Queen's jewels, the Queen's jewels. You want to find them. You want to give them to Spain after all these years. For many treasure hunters, work begins at sunrise 7 days a week throughout the summer months. This is when conditions are calm and clear. Shipwrecked salvor John Brandon captains the Endeavor. Brandon learned how to search for treasure from Mel Fisher himself, and he has dedicated 28 years of his life to continuing hunt for the 1715 fleet. Today, he is looking for a wreck site off the coast of Fort Pierce, Florida.
All right, John, take the ratchet off and let it go. All right, put the ratchet on, take a little slack. All right, that's good.
This unique device is called a FLORiDA, or a mailbox. It uses the boat's propellers to pump clear surface water down to the murky bottom, creating pockets of visibility. It is an extremely efficient excavation tool.
We can dig through very deep sand very quickly. We can idle these engines back so we won't flip over the lightest silver coin and won't damage any pottery.
With each and every discovery, there's excitement.
Treasure, all right, yeah, treasure. Oh yeah, little half real coin. You can barely see the Spanish cross on it. What do you say? That's just the first one.
But it's not that easy. The 10 shipwrecks of the 1715 fleet are resting on the ocean floor under less than 20 feet of water. But they are scattered over a distance of more than 100 nautical miles. The majority of the treasure has been amassed between central Florida's Sebastian Inlet and the coastal city of Fort Pierce.
Well, we just got another small silver coin here in this area that we've been working, another half real piece, and we'll make it bright and shiny again like the day it was made. Who knows, in a year or two, somebody might be wearing this as part of a pair of earrings or something else, and going out, letting other people look at history. But now, you know what? I'm going to go find another one.
Brandon has something in common with every expert diver who searches along the treasure coast. He has treasure fever. The same could be said for Bob Frogfoot Weller and his wife Margaret, who have also had great success diving wreck sites of the 1715 fleet.
One thing about treasure, if you think of all the highlights of your life, the highlights would be when you find something like this. It's so different. It's completely exhilarating experience.
The most coveted kind of treasure is gold that literally glitters underwater.
Gold is so dense. Silver does turn silver sulfide, and it does corrode. But gold is rare. And the way you find it is the way it was struck 300 years before. That's what makes it so nice.
The abundant 1715 fleet has yielded a bounty of treasure for decades, but the initial quest to find the shipwrecks began by turning back the pages of history to uncover the tragic story of its destruction. The dazzling images of sunken treasure that had been recovered from the 1715 plate fleet offer a tangible glimpse at a glorious time in world history, the opulence of imperial Spain. It was in the days of Christopher Columbus that this magnificent old world empire began to thrive on riches imported from the New World. Beginning in 1492, royal galleons carried hundreds of tons of treasure back to Spain year after year. But the start of the 18th century marked a reversal of fortune for the sovereignty. In the year of 1700, Philip V was crowned King of Spain. He inherited a dead-ridden empire, embroiled in a terrible war. The War of Spanish Succession engulfed most of Europe and lasted 13 long, painful years. Throughout the war, Spain's treasure shipments were highly vulnerable to their British and Dutch enemies on the high seas.
The War of the Spanish Succession, which began in 1700 and ended in 1713, and just really impoverished Spain, because during that time it was very difficult for the Spaniards to avoid British fleets and ships. And so very little passed to Europe in the way of treasure, and the crown was just gasping for funds when finally the war ended.
King Philip ordered his ship's captains to bring as much treasure as possible back from the New World, without any regard to the costs or the dangers involved. For the king, there was more at stake than just imperial treasury. King Philip had married Elizabeth Farnese, the princess of Savoy, Italy. According to some historians, the new Queen of Spain refused to sleep with the king before she received her dowry. This set the stage for the disaster of the 1715 fleet.
The Queen's not consummating the marriage. He needs some heirs, you know.
The third fateful attempt to acquire the Queen's dowry began in 1713. Her requests included a heart made of 130 pearls, 14-karat pearl earrings, a pure coral rosary with marble-sized beads, and an emerald ring weighing 74 carats. In all, the Queen's dowry filled 8 chests, which were stowed in the personal cabin of the fleet's senior officer aboard the lead ship of the Armada. An estimated 14 million pesos in registered treasure was gathered at the harbor in Havana, Cuba over the course of a year in final preparation for the trip back home. On the morning of July 24th, 1715, the treasure fleet set sail for the long return voyage to Spain. Aboard the galleons were over 2,000 crew members and passengers, including a number of wealthy merchants and their families. Although they were technically behind schedule, it was still a good month before the height of hurricane season. The weather was clear as the ships made their way to the Florida Straits to pick up speed in the powerful Gulf Stream. It was during this passage that disaster struck. 5 days into the journey, the weather began to deteriorate. A vicious storm was upon them. It soon turned into a tropical hurricane of immense power and force. When it struck, 11 treasure galleons had nowhere to run. They were trapped in the channel. That night, July 30th, 1750, the full wrath of the hurricane was unleashed. 100-mile-an-hour winds, torrential rains, and mountainous waves.
The seas were horrible. Very shortly, a lot of the ships lost their sails. They lost some of their rudders. And as the wind shifted all around the northeast and to east, this drove them right into the Florida coast.
The storm was so violent, one eyewitness recalled that the water flew in the air like arrows, doing injury to those it hit, and seamen said they had never seen anything the like before. One by one, the once proud galleons were dashed onto the jagged coral reefs. First to sink was the flagship, the Capitana, which held the Queen's jewels. It struck bottom with such force that the hull was completely crushed. The commander of the Armada and 220 others were killed. Some made it to shore, but gale-force winds weakened fighters. By dawn the next morning, the desolate beach looked like a battlefield, strewn with lifeless bodies, littered with tattered pieces of ship's cargo. This list of the dead from the 1715 fleet is a grim reminder of the men, women, and children who perished. In all, 10 galleons were destroyed, killing more than 1,000 people. It was one of the worst sea disasters of all time. Back then, the Florida shoreline was wild, uninhabited. The survivors had to endure with barely any food or water to sustain them. The death toll continued to rise. A meager campsite was set up, with virtually no shelter from the sweltering Florida sun. The Spaniards were also plagued by massive swarms of mosquitoes. Each night became so unbearable that the men could only protect their women and children by burying them in the sand up to their necks. Amidst this carnage, the royals immediately focused on salvaging the treasure from the lost galleons.
It's amazing that under the conditions that they had, and it was pretty bad, that they were able to recover as much as they did.
Using a very clever system for salvaging ships in shallow water, the Spaniards were able to recover large portions of the treasure, estimated somewhere between 30 and 80%. There is some speculation that the higher figure was an intentional exaggeration to deter unauthorized recovery efforts by Spain's rivals. If so, it didn't work. Upon hearing of the disaster, the British governor of Jamaica immediately declared open season on the remaining sunken treasure. He authorized a small fleet for the protection of the British flag to patrol the area and recover treasure. They did, but little made it back to England. As a result, the British recalled the Jamaican governor, but his ship's captains remained behind to continue their own illegal treasure hunt. Deprived of royal protection, they raised a new flag above their ships, the Jolly Roger. The term Roger was an 18th century nickname for a thief or the devil. This marked the beginning of the infamous Age of Pirates in the Caribbean. For decades to come, hundreds of cutthroat buccaneers banded together and roamed freely, with their home base at Port Royal, Jamaica. For 5 years, from 1750 to 1720, the Spanish crown made concentrated efforts to recover the treasure from the sunken plate fields. But eventually, the searching waned as the shipwrecks vanished from sight. In time, the Spanish Empire crumbled and the unscrupulous pirates disbanded. The wrecks were all but forgotten, leaving behind an unimaginable fortune in sunken treasure that remained untouched for more than 2 centuries. The exact location of the underwater grave of galleons might have forever remained a mystery, but not for the astonishing foresight and intelligence of one man. The modern-day hunt for the 1715 treasure fleet began more than 40 years ago, when an unassuming man by the name of Kit Wagner was beachcombing along Florida's central coast. Wagner was a building contractor. He used to go up and down the beaches looking for decorative pieces of driftwood. What he found was treasure.
And when he first found the first silver coins, he didn't even know they were silver coins. He thought they were seashells or stone. He laughs when he tells us, when he told the story, he's dead now. He used to skip across the water like kids do with stones. Then finally somebody told him, hey man, these things are valuable.
Once the tarnished silver coins were cleaned, they were easy to identify. Spanish pieces of 8, irregularly shaped coins containing 1 ounce of pure silver were minted in the New World between 1531 and 1850. Kip noticed that none of these coins dated past 1750, so he started to research shipwrecks from that time frame.
He did discover that a 1715 Spanish fleet allegedly perished in the Keys, and this is a long way from the Florida Keys. And he consulted his neighbor and good friend, Dr. Kelso.
The two men joined forces and dedicated themselves to locating the site of the long-forgotten shipwrecks. They diligently pored over volumes of historical material, searching for clues. Their big break came in 1959, when Dr. Kelso found an authentic 18th century map of eastern Florida. The map had been published just 50 years after the 1715 fleet was wrecked. Next to the Sebastian River, a specific notation stated, opposite this river perished the admiral, commanding the plate fleet of 1715. This was exactly where Kip was finding coins on the beach. Kelso and Wagner then contacted the archives in Seville, Spain, and requested specific details about the doomed fleet. One of the archival documents stated that the Spanish established a salvage camp near the Sebastian Inlet. This was the vital clue that Kip had been hoping to find.
Kip always knew, hey, there's riches out there, and I'm going to find it. By the time he had purchased a $15 line detector, and he got to probing around on the dune line, because that's where he was finding most of the stuff, and he discovered this campsite and picked up musket balls, and finally found a diamond ring.
After Kip discovered the campsite, he knew the shipwrecks were nearby. His search was redirected from the beach to the shallow waters.
Poor Kip, he didn't have two nickels to rub together, and he very ingenious fellow. So he decided that he got on a surfboard that would allow him to observe the bottom.
Because he couldn't afford diving equipment, Kip actually cut out a piece of his surfboard and put in a glass window to gaze beneath the ocean's surface. This ingenious idea paid off. He discovered a large, rusted cannon.
This was enough to convince him that, hey, there's a potential treasure ship here, and I don't know how to go about it, but it seems to me that if I could get in here with a drag line, I might be able to vision of it out.
There's an observation drone deck or something up after a pirate ship, and he's the head. What do you think to talk about that on the camera? Okay. You want to take a look at that right there? Why is that the screen going?
I'll go look at the back. I can hear.
Here, you didn't want to take this with you?
Hey, guys. We're cutting it short a little bit. We are going to go out to the observation deck because I hear that there is actually a real treasure ship out here. I haven't seen it, so we're going to come over here to this area. I would highly suggest if you can get to this area of Florida, please come in and check out this little museum. It's full of history of life in this area back in between the 1500s and the 1800s. Primarily 1715 is a date to notice. A lot of shipwrecks happened in that era. And they're still finding treasure today along the beaches, the shorelines of Florida. There was 11 ships out here that they found. Oh, and we got a little friend, little lizard, gecko, I don't know, something. Oh, this is talking about sea turtles. I know American Amy was talking about sea turtles. And there's supposed to be a turtle sanctuary of sorts out in this area as well for the sea turtles. This deck that I'm standing on is part of a Spanish treasure ship. Along this coast, 11 Spanish ships sunk in 1715 during a powerful hurricane. These ships were laden with silver and riches, being transported from South and Central America back to Spain. Very interesting. Yeah, this is the front part of the ship. This is the front bow of the ship, and this is how you drove the ship around. Arr. Thank you for going on the tour with me through this museum that we took part in. If you guys are out in the Florida area, I would highly encourage each and every one to get out here. And for those of you who either can't or don't live in Florida, can't get out for whatever reasons, I hope this channel brings you a little bit of life in your living room, of adventure. Yeah. This is the beautiful Florida coast. Look at that beautiful view. I love the ocean and the beaches here in Florida. I really feel drawn to this area. There's a sailboat way out there. Again, if you guys have any comments, suggestions, places in this area you might want to see, please leave those suggestions in the comment section. If it's something we can get to, we will certainly give that a try and take your comments into consideration. What did you think about today's adventure, Mr. Amazing?
Well, I'll tell you, this guy that runs this place He is freaking super duper, okay? I just love him. I'm gonna plug his channel right now. It's it's OLDS travel.com. Corey and Brandon, correct, a father and son content creators.
Father and son.
And they're gonna drive an electric car around the world starting in 2025 on their YouTube channel. So you will be able to catch some amazing van life travel type content on his channel. This guy was super amazing.
So how are they going to drive an electric car around the world when the majority of our mass is water?
Pontoons, I guess.
Pontoons, okay.
Must be pontoons or something like that, floaters.
Maybe he's got an old Spanish ship from some point in time of history that he might be using too.
Well, yeah, exactly. Treasure he found.
Treasure.
So that's what I'm inspired to do. I don't know if you guys caught it when she was in watching the presentation. I was looking at a book in there. It's like this thick with people that have found treasure right out there. Spin it out.
Treasure.
Right out here on the east coast of Florida. Finding coins. $350,000 worth of gold was one of them. Some rings. The guy found 5 high-carat rings just in the coast over here.
Yeah. So I hope this inspires you to get out and do some treasure hunting, guys. Yeah. Please do some treasure hunting.
I know.
We're going to go ahead and cut this. Guys, thank you each and every one for being aboard and supporting my endeavors on both my channels, Lady Justice Liberty Press, as well as Van Life with Lady Justice, #LJLP. Until then, we will see you on the other side. Giddy up, 1A.